Brought to you by Aumann Auctions, the worldwide leader in antique tractor auctions.
In 1992, this tractor showed up on an auction sale bill about 120 miles northeast of here. When I went up and looked at it, I was just in awe. The original owner bought it and he used it, all that 1,100 hours in the first season was the story that the family told. And he was quite a particular gentleman, and he put it in the shed every night and wiped it down, they said, you know, and took real, which obviously, you know, he did take care of it. He probably had a cultivator mounted on it, and you know, it was used that first season, so it's not an unused tractor. But then he developed some type of illness after that first season and wasn't able to farm anymore, and it was parked in the shed, and it sat there from when it was a year old until 1992 when they pulled it out and had the auction. It shows 1,122 hours now, and I've probably put 10 hours on it or something like that. I did bail with it shortly after I got it, just for the fun of it. Probably cringe now that I was. One somewhat unique thing about this, it's an all-fuel tractor. Nebraska was an area that used all-fuel tractors a lot later than most other areas for whatever reason. You know, the production numbers on all-fuels compared to gasoline in the 50s went way down. You know, obviously the first John Deeres were all fuel. All fuel, they burned either kerosene or distillate, which was a lower priced fuel. They had to start it on gasoline because it wouldn't burn those low cost fuels because they're not as volatile as gasoline until the engine was warmed up. You have a small tank that's maybe a half gallon for the gasoline to start it. And then on these, there's a valve on the dash that you turn to switch it over. Once it gets warmed up, then you switch it over to the big tank. You get into the 20 and 30 series, all fuels mostly were exported, and the ones that weren't went to Nebraska. Nebraska is a good place to find all fuel tractors. And the other place that all fuels went a lot of times was in the south, and then there they rot away. So our climate is very nice here for original tractors. And a lot of my tractors that came from Nebraska are, you know, they've set out most of their life, but they're still rust-free. Well, on the auction when I bought this, laying beside the tractor was this hydraulic cylinder that obviously was bought with the tractor. And I've never have checked for sure. I would assume it probably did get used that first season, but it's still, you know, really nice. It may not have been used. I never did check if it had oil in it or not. But it has a stencil put on it that says special, no override. Whatever that means. I'm not real sure. But it's, you know, it's just as nice as the tractor. It's got the covers on the end of the plugs and everything. Even the seat cushion is original to the tractor. The tires, everything is just as it came from the factory. I've always had an appreciation for nice original things, and this was it. They're only original once. And there's not many in this, you know, there's original paint tractors, but not quite like this.